Hello, my name is Jack. Welcome back to my vault. In August 1971, a psychologist gave 24 college students a role to play. Half were guards, half were prisoners. In a fake prison in a university basement. 6 days later, the experiment was terminated because the guards had become torturers. The professor running the study later admitted. He forgot he was supposed to stop them. For 50 years, this experiment was taught in every psychology class in the world. It was held up as proof that ordinary people can become monsters. Then a French researcher opened the professor's archives and found something nobody was supposed to see. The day before the experiment started, there was already a meeting with the guards. This is the Stanford Prison Experiment, and the vault is now open. August 1971, Stanford University, California. Philip Zimbardo, psychology professor, placed an ad in a local newspaper. Wanted male college students for a psychological study of prison life. $15 a day. 70 men applied. 24 were selected. Screened for psychological health. Stability. No criminal history. The most ordinary men he could find. A coin flip decided everything. 12 became guards. 12 became prisoners. The guards were given uniforms, wooden batons, mirrored sunglasses. The sunglasses were important. Prisoners couldn't see the guards' eyes, couldn't read their faces, couldn't find their humanity. The prisoners were given numbers. Their names were taken away. The prison was in the basement of the Stanford Psychology Building. Real cells. Real bars. One small room for solitary confinement. Zimbardo gave himself a role, too. He became the prison superintendent. That decision would matter. The prisoners didn't know they were being arrested that morning. Real Palo Alto police officers showed up at their homes. Real handcuffs. Real patrol cars. Brought to a real police station. Fingerprinted. Photographed. Booked. Then transferred to the basement. Blindfolded. Stripped. Deloused with a spray. Given a prison uniform and a number. A chain around one ankle. Day 1 passed without major incident. Day 2, the prisoners rebelled. They barricaded themselves inside their cells and shouted at the guards. The guards used a fire extinguisher to force them back. Then they took the prisoners' beds. Then they took their clothes. Then they created a privilege cell. 3 prisoners who hadn't rebelled were given their beds back and better food. The others watched. The division had begun. By day 3, the guards were working night shifts. 2 a.m. 3 a.m. They woke the prisoners, made them do push-ups, sing humiliating songs, clean toilets with their bare hands. The toilets were buckets. If a prisoner refused to clean the bucket wasn't emptied. The guards made prisoners sleep without mattresses on concrete floors. They put bags over prisoners' heads when moving them between rooms. One prisoner, known only as 8612, began to scream. He wept. He raged. He threw himself against the walls. Zimbardo refused to release him. He told 8612, "You cannot leave. You are a prisoner. There is no leaving." Eventually, 8612 was released. Later, he told researchers, "I was acting. I wanted to leave early. I thought a breakdown was the fastest way out." The most dramatic moment of the most famous psychology experiment in history was a performance. Day 5, Family Visiting Day. Parents and girlfriends arrived to see the prisoners. What they saw shocked them. Hollow eyes, slumped posture, broken voices. One mother began to cry. One father demanded the experiment end immediately. Zimbardo dismissed them. He told them their sons were fine. Day 6. Zimbardo's girlfriend, Christina Maslach, visited the basement. She watched prisoners being led to the bathroom. Bags over their heads, chains on their ankles, guards screaming at them. She turned to Zimbardo. She said, "What you are doing to these people is a terrible thing." Zimbardo stopped. He looked at the room. He looked at the guards. He looked at the prisoners. He later said, "That was the first moment I saw it as an outside observer, not as the superintendent, as a researcher who had lost control." He terminated the experiment the same day, 8 days early. For decades, the Stanford Prison Experiment was taught as proof that ordinary people placed in positions of power will abuse it. Proof that it's not who you are, it's where you are. Zimbardo became famous. TED Talks. Television. A best-selling book. Then in 2018, French researcher Thibault Letexier spent years studying Zimbardo's own archives. What he found changed everything. The day before the experiment began, Zimbardo held a meeting with the guards only. He told them to make prisoners feel powerless. He distributed a list of rules and procedures. He told them how to behave. He told them what he expected. When some guards weren't cruel enough, Zimbardo's assistants reportedly pulled them aside and pushed them to do more. Dave Eshelman, the most brutal guard, nicknamed John Wayne, later confirmed it. He said, "I knew what Zimbardo wanted. I gave it to him." The experiment wasn't a discovery. It was a demonstration, staged to prove a conclusion that had already been decided. In 2002, the BBC conducted the same experiment. Same setup, same roles. One difference, the guards received no coaching. The guards did not become tyrants. The prisoners organized, resisted. 1. The BBC experiment produced the opposite result. Letexier's book was published in French in 2018. The English translation arrived in 2024. In January 2026, National Geographic released a documentary, The Stanford Prison Experiment, Unlocking the Truth. The original participants sat down on camera and confirmed what Letexier had found. The guards were coached. The prisoners who broke down were partly performing, and the professor who ran the experiment had assigned himself a role and forgotten how to step out of it. The Stanford Prison Experiment is still in psychology textbooks around the world. The conclusion that ordinary people become torturers given the right situation may rest entirely on an experiment that was designed to reach that conclusion. The vault for the Stanford Prison Experiment is now locked, but the next secret is already waiting. Subscribe to enter the vault. My name is Jack. Keep your eyes open.